Welcome to the next video of section 1, Playtesting and the Game tab. In the previous video we've learned about lighting and sky. In this video we're going to learn about playtesting and the Game tab. The environment created thus far for the coin collection game has been assembled using only the mesh assets included with the native prototyping package. My environment features contain two main floor islands with houses, and the islands themselves are connected together by a stepping stone bridge. Your version may be slightly different, and that's fine. Overall, the scene is good work, it's well worth saving. To save the scene, press Ctrl and S on the keyboard, or else choose File, Save Scene from the application menu. If you're saving the scene for the first time, Unity displays a pop-up save dialog prompting you to name the scene descriptively. I called it Level 01. After saving the scene, it becomes a scene asset of the project and appears in the project panel. This means that the scene is now a genuine and integral part of the project and not just a temporary work in progress as it was before. Notice that saving a scene is conceptually different from saving a project. For example, the application menu has entries for Save Scene and Save Project. Remember, a project is a collection of files and folders including the assets and scenes. A scene, by contrast, is one asset within the project and represents a complete 3D map that may be populated by other assets, such as meshes, textures, and sounds. Thus, saving a project saves the configuration between files and assets, including scenes. Saving a scene, in contrast, just retains the level changes within the specified scene. Now, the level, as it stands, contains nothing really playable. It's simply a static, lifeless, and non-interactive 3D environment made using the editor tools. Let's correct this by making our scene playable, allowing the player to wander around and explore the world in first-person mode, controlled using the standard WASD keys on the keyboard. To achieve this, we'll add a first-person character controller to the scene. This is a ready-made asset included with Unity, which contains everything necessary to create quick and effective first-person controls. Open the Standard Assets, Characters, First-Person Character, Prefabs folder. Then drag and drop the FPS controller asset from the project panel in the scene. After adding the first-person controller, click on the Play button from the Unity toolbar to play test the game in first-person mode. On clicking Play, Unity typically switches from the Scene tab to the Game tab. As we've seen, the Scene tab is a director's eye view of the active scene. It's where a scene is edited, crafted, and designed. In contrast, the Game tab is where the active scene is played and tested from the perspective of the gamer. From this view, the scene is displayed through the main game camera. While play mode is active, you can playtest your game using the default game controls, provided that the Game tab is in focus. The first-person controller uses the WASD keys on the keyboard, and mouse movement controls head orientation. Congratulations, your level should now be walkable in first-person mode. When completed, you can easily stop playback by clicking on the play button again or by pressing Ctrl P on the keyboard. Doing this will return you to the Scene tab. You should notice that on playing a level with a first-person controller, you receive an information message printed to the console window. By default, this window appears at the bottom of the Unity editor, docked beside the project panel. This window is also accessible manually from the application menu, Window, Console. The console window is where all encountered errors or warnings are displayed for your review, as well as information messages. Errors are printed in red and warnings in yellow, and information messages appear as a default grey. Sometimes a message appears just once, or sometimes it appears many times repeatedly. As mentioned, the console window outputs three distinct types of messages: information, warnings, and errors. Information messages are typically Unity's way of making best practice recommendations or suggestions based on how your project is currently working. Warnings are slightly more serious and represent problems either in your code or scene, which, if not corrected, could result in unexpected behaviors and suboptimal performance. Finally, errors describe areas in your scene or code that require careful and immediate attention. Sometimes errors will prevent your game from working altogether, and sometimes errors happen at runtime and can result in game crashes or freezes. The console window, therefore, is helpful because it helps us debug and address issues with our games. An audio listener is a component attached to a camera object. Specifically, each and every camera by default has an audio listener component attached. This represents an ear point, that is, the ability to hear sound within the scene from the position of the camera. Unfortunately, Unity doesn't support multiple active audio listeners in the same scene, which means that you can only hear audio from one place at any one time. This problem happens because our scene now contains two cameras, one that was added automatically when the scene was created, and the other that is included in the first-person controller. To confirm this, select the first-person controller object in the hierarchy panel and click the triangle icon beside its name to reveal more objects underneath, which are part of the first-person controller. Select the first-person character object, which is underneath the FPS controller object. The first-person character object is a child of the FPS controller, which is the parent. This is because FPS controller contains or encloses the first-person character object in the hierarchy panel. Child objects inherit the transformations of their parents. This means that as a parent objects move and rotate, all transformations will cascade downwards to all the children. From the Object Inspector, you can see that the object has an audio listener component. We could remove the audio listener component from the FPS controller, but this would prevent the player hearing sound in first-person perspective. So instead, we'll delete the original camera created by default in the scene. To do this, select the original camera object in the hierarchy and press Delete on the keyboard. This removes the audio listener warning in the console during gameplay. Now give the game a playtest. Great! We've successfully learned about playtesting and the Game tab. In the next video, we'll learn how to add a water plane.